Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be installing a aftermarket steering wheel in my R56. I do not have a quick release for it. I opted not to get that at the moment. So we're going to install just the NRG short hub and the Grip Royal wheel. I picked this up at Riverside this weekend. This is what I went with. Grip Royal perforated leather. I went dark leather, dark steering wheel, and the shiesty horn buttons. So I'm going to show you guys how to install the wheel and everything you'll need, and basically just a tutorial what you have to do. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do, you need a 10 mil for this, either a 10 mil wrench or a 10 mil socket, and we're going to start by disconnecting the battery. This is super important. Always make sure you disconnect the battery when you're doing anything involving the airbag. If you don't, there's a chance it'll deploy. So make sure you disconnect the battery. Super important. Let's do that first. All right, so once you got the battery disconnected, the next thing you need is like a flathead or something with a flat top. You're gonna want to come in at this angle because basically there's a metal tab that we have to push up. So obviously your surface area to push will be significantly less if you come in vertical. So you want to make sure you come in like this. There's a tiny hole underneath the steering wheel. See if you guys can see that. There it is. So you're gonna go with the flathead into that hole and see if we can. So okay, we're in. There's a little metal tab. Push up, boom, you saw it. That's it. That's how easy it is. Now your airbag is loose. All right, so I'm gonna have my wife record now so we can get you guys a better angle. But basically, so now once we pushed up on that metal tab, your airbag cover is completely removed, right? So there's this clip on the top. Let me grab my flathead. Boom, pull out that great clip. And then this right here, that's gonna be your horn. So we can just pop off the horn cable as well. Okay, so I was fighting with this cable for the horn for like 3 minutes, and it's like cutting me up. Come to find out, there's this little tab on the back. You can kind of see that little metal piece in the middle. So literally just push up on that tab in the back, and then it'll pop right off. So yeah, don't tear your fingers up like me. That's how you do it. All right, so next you're gonna need a 16 mil and an impact. I mean, you probably do it with a hand tool, but get that on there. Boom, just like that. Take off the nut that holds the steering wheel onto the steering column. All right, so once you get the steering nut off, you'll be able to take the wheel completely off. Looks like there's these cables up here. Yeah, we'll probably need to do something about that first. Oh, it just pulls off. So that doesn't have like a pin or anything holding it on. So you can just pull that directly off. You don't have to worry about breaking this. Now this is the important part, right? If you don't want to be replacing your clock spring, do not touch this. Absolutely do not spin this. Don't touch it. Don't do anything with it. Just leave it like this. So super important. Some people seem to forget that, and so obviously at this point, it goes without saying, don't be spinning your wheel around or doing anything crazy. You want to make sure that you leave this exactly how it's supposed to be. Okay, so now we've got our NRG short hub for R56 Mini. This fits a couple different R minis, so, or I guess second generation minis, so just make sure you get the right one. I bought this one off All Mag, so it came off a used car. But yeah, it's in pretty good shape. So the things that you have to pay attention to here is really, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's this empty space on the top where you can put the electronics. So it can only really go on one way, and then you have your hole in the bottom, indentation that lines up here. But also if you look inside, like say you don't have the NRG one, just a reference, if you look inside, you'll notice on the splines, I don't know how well you'll see it on the camera, but just pay attention. There's splines that are, it's like a master spline, so it's completely shallowed out. So you just want to line that master spline up with the master spline on the steering column. But in this case, like I said, it's only going to go on one way. So, and we're going to take it. There's a little mark right here indicating our master spline. So we're going to take it, line up the master spline. Boom. And it's on. Okay, so once you have the short hub installed into the steering column, you can take your nut again, or your bolt, sorry, thread it on by hand, and then take our 16, turn it down a little bit. Boom. Make sure it's nice and tight on there. All right, so this is pretty funny. So I forgot to, or not really forgot, I've never had a grip royal before, so I didn't know this was a thing. Kind of like a bonehead moment. I went to go put my steering wheel on and I was like, oh, this is a problem. Nice, that's gonna look really good. So it literally says it right here on the box. You will be required to rotate the hub adapter, ignoring the top dot, which is this. Right, so you still have to put the hub on the way that I showed you. And I think depending on the brand of steering wheel you have, depends on whether you need to do this next step or not. But in our case, for the Grip Royal wheel, they have it designed where you have to rotate this hub. You basically have to rotate it over to get it to line up correctly, but we cannot do that on the minis because of the electrical connectors that are sitting inside of this cutout. I do not recommend breaking that. So all that means is that we're gonna need to get a rotator spacer kit, is what it's called. They sell it, I will buy one. We'll continue with the install. I figured this is actually good that it happened, because if you're anything like me and you're sitting at home wondering how to put a steering wheel on your R56, you may run into the same issues. So we'll just have to get the rotator spacer kit, and what that will do is that will basically mount here, and then the holes on the steering wheel will mount to the spacer in a different orientation. But for the sake of just today, I don't drive this car every day. This is not my daily. This car is absolutely slammed, so this isn't gonna affect me at all. But for the sake of finishing the install tutorial, what we'll do today is I will just mount it on here, crooked, just like this. And there's a reason I'm gonna go to the left. My alignment is a little bit to the right, so if I mount it like this, the wheel's really gonna end up being like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount it like this, and it honestly probably won't be that bad. It'll sit somewhere like this. So we'll go ahead and install that. You'll just need the supplied screws that you get with your steering wheel, and an Allen key. All right, so I went and connected the battery back in so I can move the steering wheel, but this is how it looks. I just put the bolts in and slapped the horn in. I didn't wire up the horn or anything. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I'm gonna be honest, the horn in the Mini is not something that I press often. It doesn't really sound very intimidating. But if I do end up wiring up the horn, I'll make another video on that. And as far as the airbag light, I didn't put any resistors, so I'll have an airbag light now. But when I go to install the other piece, I may come back and install a resistor. I don't know. The light doesn't really bother me, but I'm sure you guys can find on the forum somewhere what resistor you'll need, and I believe it'll just plug into those connections that we unplugged in the beginning. Yeah, I think that gray one on the left, I think, is the one that controls the airbag light. So, but anyways, that's it. That's how easy the install is. I mean, this is really not very hard. Just like recap, you're gonna need an Allen key. I'm sorry, you're gonna need a flathead screwdriver. You're gonna need a 16 mil and whatever was supplied with your steering wheel. So probably an Allen key to put in the bolts. But yeah, that's it. If you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments. Reach out to me on Instagram, R56Cody, and I'll help you out on there. But this is pretty simple. If you follow these steps, I mean, it's really hard to screw up make sure you disconnect the battery. That's all I can say. So, all right, y'all. See you on the next one. Peace.